Imagine this. The person shaking your hand, laughing at your jokes and cheering you on might not be who they seem. Beneath their smile could lurk a hidden agenda, a calculated plan to unravel everything you've built. Your career, your relationships, your peace of mind. The scariest enemies don't always curse your name. Sometimes they call you friend while quietly digging your grave. Welcome to ZENLIGHT, where we uncover the truths that protect your life and empower your mind. In this video, we're diving deep into 5 chilling signs of a dangerous enemy hiding in plain sight. Someone who blends into your world, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Drawing from the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and real-world stories, we'll arm you with practical tools to spot these threats and shield yourself before it's too late. Whether it's a coworker, a friend, or someone closer than you'd ever suspect, this video will change how you see the people around you. Stick with us until the end to learn not just how to survive these hidden dangers, but how to thrive with unshakable confidence in today's unpredictable world. Let's dive in and uncover the truth together on ZENLIGHT. Picture a shadow trailing you, unnoticed as you go about your day, grabbing your morning coffee at that cozy spot on Main Street, hitting the gym after work, or strolling through your neighborhood park. This shadow doesn't shout, doesn't threaten, doesn't even make a sound. It simply watches, studies, and waits. On the surface, they might seem like just another face in the crowd, a coworker who nods politely, a neighbor who waves from across the street, or even a new friend who seems a little too curious about your life. But beneath that ordinary exterior lies something far more sinister, a predator disguised as a passerby, mapping your every move with the patience of a chess master plotting checkmate. This is the silent observer, the most dangerous kind of enemy, because their weapon isn't a raised voice or an open challenge. It's time, precision, and your own unawareness. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're not here to feed paranoia, but to sharpen your mind with the wisdom of Stoicism and the tools to protect your peace in a world where threats often wear a friendly mask. Let me tell you about Sarah, a young professional living in a bustling city like Chicago. She had a predictable routine: coffee at 7 a.m., work by 8, and yoga class at 6 p.m. For months, she noticed a guy named Mark at her favorite cafe, a quiet, unassuming regular who always seemed to be there, sipping his latte, scrolling through his phone. At first, it was just a coincidence. Then Mark started showing up at her yoga studio, always in the back row, his eyes lingering just a moment too long. He'd make small talk, asking about her weekend plans or her job, always with a smile that felt warm but oddly calculated. One evening, Sarah posted a photo from a local bar on Instagram, a rare night out with friends. Within an hour, Mark was there, just passing by, he said, but his presence felt too precise, too deliberate. When she later found out he'd asked a mutual friend about her work schedule, a chill ran down her spine. Mark wasn't just friendly. He was watching, collecting pieces of her life like a puzzle he planned to use against her. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought." For the silent observer, their mind is consumed with you, not out of admiration, but with intent. They don't need to hack your phone or follow you in a trench coat like some movie villain. In today's world, they can piece together your life from crumbs: a friend's casual post tagging you at a restaurant, a colleague mentioning your gym routine in passing, or even your own social media updates about a new job or a weekend getaway. Every detail is a thread they weave into a map of your vulnerabilities. The scariest part? You rarely notice until it's too late because their presence feels so ordinary, so harmless. They're at your coffee shop, your gym, your favorite bookstore, always blending in, always just a few steps away. But when you start to sense their shadow, when their questions feel too pointed, their appearances too frequent, that's your intuition screaming for you to pay attention. So how do you protect yourself in a world where danger can hide behind a familiar face? Stoicism teaches us to act with clarity, not fear. Start by sharpening your awareness. Notice who shows up in your life a little too often, who knows things about you that you never shared. Maybe it's a coworker who mentions a place you visited but never told them about, or a casual acquaintance who seems to know your schedule better than your best friend. Don't dismiss these moments as coincidences. Trust your gut. Next, take control of your own narrative. In our hyper-connected world, oversharing is a trap. Be mindful of what you post online, even if it's just a photo of your morning latte or a quick update about your day. Limit the breadcrumbs you leave behind, because the silent observer thrives on what you give away unknowingly. Finally, channel the Stoic principle of self-reliance. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our boundaries, our inner peace. If someone's presence feels off, don't wait for proof to set boundaries. Politely but firmly, reduce their access to your life. You don't need to accuse or confront, just protect your space with quiet strength. In 2025, when our lives are more visible than ever through social media, workplace chatter, or even fitness apps tracking our runs, the silent observer has more tools than ever to blend into the background. But you have tools too: awareness, intuition, and the courage to act before the shadow closes in. This isn't about living in fear, it's about living with wisdom, seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. So, take a moment today. Look around. Who's watching you a little too closely? Who knows more than they should? The answers might surprise you, but they'll also empower you to stay one step ahead. Now, the silent observer is just the beginning. Some enemies don't just watch, they infiltrate, sowing seeds of doubt that can unravel your world from the inside out. Let's explore the next sign: the quiet betrayal, where trust becomes a weapon turned against you. You've probably felt it before, that slow, creeping sense that something's off. Maybe it's a sudden chill in the air at work, where colleagues who once greeted you warmly now avoid your gaze. Or perhaps it's the way a friend's tone shifts, their words laced with a subtle edge you can't quite place. At first, you brush it off. You tell yourself it's just a misunderstanding, a bad day, or maybe you're reading too much into things. But then it happens again. A missed invitation, a whispered rumor, a project you poured your heart into inexplicably reassigned. This isn't an accident. This isn't bad luck. This is the quiet betrayal, the work of an enemy who doesn't need to raise their voice or draw a weapon to dismantle your world. They operate in the shadows, planting seeds of doubt that grow into walls between you and the people you trust. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're pulling back the curtain on this insidious threat, using the wisdom of Stoicism to help you see clearly, act decisively, and reclaim your power in a world where betrayal often wears the softest smile. Let's step into the life of Michael, a graphic designer in a vibrant Seattle agency. Michael was a rising star, known for his creativity and reliability. His boss, Lisa, praised his work, and his co-workers often turned to him for advice. Enter Rachel, a new team member who seemed eager to fit in. She was quick to compliment Michael, always asking for his input on her projects, always lingering after meetings to chat about his ideas. Over time, Michael opened up, sharing his ambitions, his upcoming pitch for a major client, even his struggles with work-life balance. Rachel listened intently, nodding, offering support. But then, things started to shift. Michael's pitch, the one he'd spent weeks perfecting, was mysteriously leaked to a competitor. His co-workers began whispering about his unreliability, citing stories he'd never heard before. Lisa grew distant, passing him over for a promotion he was certain he'd earned. When Michael confronted Rachel, she looked shocked, even hurt, insisting she had no idea what he was talking about. But the pieces didn't add up. Details he'd only shared with her were now circulating, twisted just enough to paint him as careless, untrustworthy. Rachel wasn't just a colleague, she was a master of the quiet betrayal, eroding Michael's world one whispered lie at a time. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." But what happens when those you trust are the ones quietly working against you? The quiet betrayal is so dangerous because it doesn't announce itself with a dramatic showdown. It's a slow poison administered through half-truths and subtle manipulations. The betrayer doesn't confront you directly. They don't need to. They let others do their work, turning your allies into skeptics, your supporters into strangers. They might drop a casual comment to a colleague about your missed deadline, even though you submitted your work on time. They might hint to a friend that you've been acting distant, planting doubts about your loyalty. Each move is calculated, each word chosen to chip away at your reputation, your relationships, your confidence. And the worst part? You often doubt yourself first, wondering if you've done something wrong, if you've misstepped, if you're the problem. That's exactly what the betrayer wants, for you to question your own worth while they pull the strings from the shadows. In today's fast-paced, hyper-competitive world of 2025, the quiet betrayal thrives in workplaces, social circles, and even online communities. With a single post on X, a carefully worded email, or a private conversation, someone can shift how others perceive you, all while keeping their hands clean. But Stoicism offers a shield against this kind of attack. The power of inner strength and clear perception. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know the truth. Your reputation may be fragile, but your character is unbreakable. The betrayer's power lies in manipulating appearances, but you can reclaim control by focusing on what you can control: your actions, your integrity, your response. Start by observing without emotion. If you notice a pattern, misunderstandings that always trace back to one person, conflicts that seem to arise out of nowhere, don't ignore it. Take note. Who's always at the center of the storm? Who benefits when your reputation takes a hit? Next, fortify your inner circle. Surround yourself with people who see through lies, who value your character over rumors. Share your truth with them, not out of desperation, but with quiet confidence, letting your actions speak louder than any whisper campaign. Finally, live in a way that defies distortion. As Epictetus taught, if someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself. Instead, live in such a way that no one will believe them. Let your work, your kindness, your consistency be your defense. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever felt a shift in how people treat you, with no clear reason why? Maybe a coworker stopped inviting you to lunch, or a friend group grew quiet when you entered the room. These aren't just social hiccups. They could be signs of a quiet betrayal at work. In 2025, when information spreads faster than ever, a single rumor can travel from a group chat to a boardroom in hours. But you're not powerless. Start small. Keep a journal of interactions that feel off, noting dates and details. This isn't about paranoia, it's about clarity. If you sense someone sowing discord, address it calmly but directly. A simple, "I've noticed some confusion about my work, can we clear this up?" can expose a betrayer's tactics without escalating into conflict. And above all, anchor yourself in your own values. The Stoics knew that no one can take your inner peace unless you let them. By staying true to who you are, you render the betrayer's whispers powerless. The quiet betrayal is a reminder that not every enemy comes with a warning. But with awareness and action, you can protect your world from unraveling. As we move forward, we'll uncover an even more deceptive threat: the mask of friendship, where trust becomes a weapon in the hands of someone you thought was on your side. Trust is a fragile thing, isn't it? You build it slowly, brick by brick, through shared moments, late-night conversations, and the quiet comfort of knowing someone has your back. But what happens when the person you've let into your world, the one you've confided in over coffee or trusted with your biggest dreams, isn't who they seem? They laugh with you, celebrate your wins, and listen when you're at your lowest. But behind their warm smile lies a calculated plan to use your trust against you. This is the mask of friendship, the most devastating kind of betrayal, because it comes from someone you've welcomed into your heart. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're peeling back this deceptive facade, drawing on the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to help you spot the friend who might be your greatest enemy. This isn't about closing yourself off to connection. It's about seeing clearly, protecting your peace, and building a life where trust is earned, not exploited, in a world that's more connected and more deceptive than ever. Let's walk through the story of Laura, a teacher in a small town outside Austin. Laura had always been cautious, But when she met Claire at a local book club, something clicked. Claire was warm, attentive, always ready with a kind word or a thoughtful question. She'd text Laura after a tough day, asking how she was holding up, or show up with a coffee just when Laura needed a pick-me-up. Over months, Claire became a confidant, someone Laura trusted with her deepest fears, her worries about job security, her plans to apply for a principal position, even her struggles with a strained family relationship. Claire listened, nodded, and offered advice that felt like wisdom. But then cracks started to show. Laura's application for the principal role was mysteriously overlooked, with whispers that she'd been too stressed to handle it, details only Claire knew. A family secret Laura had shared in confidence surfaced in a group chat, twisted to make her look unstable. When Laura confronted Claire, the response was a masterclass in deflection, wide-eyed innocence, a quick apology, and a promise it was all a misunderstanding. But the damage was done. Laura's reputation, her confidence, her trust in others were shaken. Claire wasn't a friend. She was a wolf in sheep's clothing, wearing the mask of friendship to gain access to Laura's vulnerabilities. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius warned, "Be wary of those who are too eager to stand by your side, for the man who needs to prove his loyalty is often the one most likely to betray you." The mask of friendship is so dangerous because it exploits our deepest human need, connection. A true friend earns your trust through consistent actions over time, but a false friend rushes in, eager to know everything about you, your plans, your fears, your weaknesses, not because they care, but because knowledge is power. They ask about your next career move, not to cheer you on, but to know where you're vulnerable. They listen to your struggles, not to support you, but to catalog your insecurities. In 2025, when social media and instant messaging make it easier than ever to forge quick connections, this kind of betrayal is more common than you might think. A friend might slide into your DMs on X, offering support after a tough post, only to use your words against you later. A co-worker might cozy up during a project, only to sabotage your efforts when a promotion is on the line. The mask of friendship thrives in a world where appearances can be curated with a few clicks, and trust can be weaponized in an instant. So, how do you protect yourself without losing faith in others? Stoicism teaches us to balance openness with discernment, to welcome connection but guard our inner world. Start by slowing down. Genuine friendships deepen over time, through shared experiences and mutual respect. If someone moves too fast, pressing for details about your life, your plans, your struggles, take a step back. Ask yourself, why are they so eager? What do they gain from knowing so much? Next, protect your inner circle like a fortress. Epictetus taught, the more you reveal of yourself, the more you give others the power to use it against you. Share your dreams and fears selectively, only with those who've proven their loyalty through actions, not words. In practice, this means being mindful of what you reveal, even in casual conversations. If a new colleague asks about your 5-year plan or a recent acquaintance probes into your personal challenges, deflect with grace. A simple, "I'm still figuring things out, how about you?" keeps them at a distance without closing the door entirely. Finally, trust patterns, not promises. A true friend's actions align with their words over months, even years. A false friend's eagerness often betrays their intent. Watch for inconsistencies, like excessive flattery followed by subtle digs or support that feels performative rather than genuine. In today's world, where networking events, group chats, and online communities can blur the line between acquaintance and ally, the mask of friendship is a real threat, but you're not defenseless. Take a moment to reflect. Is there someone in your life who's moved too quickly into your trust? Do their questions feel more like interrogations than curiosity? Do their actions match their words, or do you sense a hidden agenda? Start small to protect yourself. Keep a mental checklist of who knows what about you, your schedule, your goals, your vulnerabilities. If someone's interest feels overwhelming, set boundaries early, like limiting how often you share personal updates. And above all, anchor yourself in Stoic wisdom. Your worth isn't tied to others' perceptions, but to your own integrity. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By choosing who you trust with care, you build a life where betrayal can't take root. The mask of friendship is a stark reminder that not everyone who stands beside you is on your side. But there's another threat, one that builds slowly, testing your boundaries with every step. Let's uncover the next sign, the gradual attack, where small provocations escalate into something far more dangerous. Danger doesn't always burst through the door with a shout or a shove. Sometimes it creeps in quietly, testing the waters with a nudge, a joke, or a fleeting moment that leaves you uneasy. You might laugh it off at first, chalk it up to someone's bad day or quirky sense of humor. But then it happens again, a little closer, a little bolder, a little more deliberate. This is the gradual attack, the slow escalation of hostility disguised as harmless quirks, designed to probe your boundaries and see how far an enemy can push before you push back. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into this subtle but sinister threat, using the clarity of Stoicism to help you recognize the signs and protect your peace before the storm hits. In a world where small slights can snowball into serious danger, understanding this pattern isn't just about staying safe. It's about reclaiming your power with quiet, unshakable strength. Let's step into the life of James, a software engineer in San Francisco's fast-paced tech scene. James was used to the high-pressure environment of his startup, where egos clashed and deadlines loomed. But when a new coworker, Alex, joined the team, things felt different. Alex had a sharp wit, always tossing out edgy jokes about taking out the competition or crushing it in a way that made everyone laugh, including James. At first it was just banter, Alex's way of fitting in. But over weeks, the jokes grew darker. During a team meeting, Alex accidentally bumped into James's chair, hard enough to jolt him, then laughed it off with a wink. A few days later, he leaned too close during a code review, his tone mocking as he pointed out a minor error in James's work. By the time Alex slammed a stack of papers onto James's desk, whispering, "Careful, that could have been your laptop," James's unease had turned to dread. Each incident was small enough to dismiss, but together, they formed a pattern, a deliberate escalation testing how much James would tolerate. When James finally confronted Alex, the response was a shrug and a grin. "You're too sensitive, man." But James knew better. This wasn't sensitivity, it was survival. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles you face, like the gradual attack, aren't just threats, they're opportunities to sharpen your awareness and strengthen your resolve. The danger of the gradual attack lies in its subtlety. It starts with a comment. That feels off but not worth a fight, like a coworker's sarcastic jab disguised as humor. Then it escalates. A physical nudge in a crowded hallway, a lingering stare that feels more like a challenge than a glance, or a playful threat that hits too close to home. Each step is a test, gauging your reaction. If you laugh, they push harder. If you stay silent, they take it as permission. In 2025, when workplace dynamics and social interactions are amplified by constant connectivity, think Slack channels buzzing with snarky GIFs or group texts that hide passive-aggressive barbs, the Gradual system. Gradual attack is a calculated escalation where the enemy probes your limits with increasing boldness, disguised as harmless behavior. The danger lies in its subtlety, luring you into complacency until the threat becomes undeniable. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're exposing this creeping menace, arming you with Stoic wisdom to spot the signs and protect your peace before it's too late. In a world where small slights can spiral into serious harm, recognizing this pattern is about taking control with clarity and strength. Consider the story of James, a software engineer in San Francisco's cutthroat tech world. James thrived in the high-stakes environment of his startup, where tight deadlines and big egos were the norm. Enter Alex, a new coworker with a sharp tongue and a knack for edgy humor. His jokes about taking out the competition, or crushing, it were a hit at first, blending into the team's banter, but soon the tone shifted. During a meeting, Alex accidentally knocked James's chair hard enough to spill his coffee, then laughed it off with a grin. A week later, Alex leaned too close during a code review, his voice dripping with mockery over a trivial bug in James's work. The incidents piled up. A shoulder check in the hallway, a joking comment about breaking James's laptop, and finally a heavy binder slammed onto his desk with a whispered, "Imagine if that was your head." Each moment was small enough to shrug off, but together they painted a chilling picture. When James confronted Alex, he got a dismissive smirk. "Lighten up, dude." But James's gut told him this was no joke. This was a gradual attack. Testing his limits with every calculated step, Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way v system." Way. The gradual attack is a series of subtle, escalating provocations, an enemy testing how far they can push before you push back. It's not about a single blow, but a slow erosion of your boundaries disguised as harmless quirks. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're shining a light on this insidious threat, blending Stoic clarity with practical tools to help you spot the signs and act decisively. In today's hyper-connected world of 2025, where a single snarky comment on X or a passive-aggressive email can spark a chain reaction, mastering this awareness is your shield. Let's break it down with James's story. In San Francisco's high-stakes tech scene, James was a rising star at a startup. Enter Alex, a charismatic newcomer whose dark humor, jokes about eliminating competition or crushing it, fit the team's edgy vibe. At first, James laughed along, but then Alex's behavior escalated. A clumsy bump into James's chair, spilling his coffee, followed by a mocking jab at a minor code error in front of the team. Soon, Alex was accidentally shoving James in the hallway, his apologies too slick to trust. The final straw, a heavy binder slammed onto James's desk with a low, "Careful, that could have been your head." Each incident felt deniable, but the pattern was clear. Alex was testing James's limits, pushing harder with every step. When James called him out, Alex smirked. "You're too sensitive." But James's instincts screamed danger, and he was right. Stoicism teaches us to face obstacles with clear-eyed courage, and the gradual attack demands exactly that. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to turn challenges into strength. What stands in the way becomes the way. The attacker's power lies in your hesitation. If you dismiss their provocations, you invite bolder moves. In today's world, where a single misinterpreted text or social media jab can escalate tensions, recognizing this pattern is critical. Start by acknowledging the signs: a joke that stings, a physical move that feels too aggressive, a comment that crosses a line. Don't brush it off as no big deal. Trust your gut. Next, set boundaries with calm resolve. A Stoic doesn't react with fear or anger, but with deliberate action. Call out the behavior directly. Say, "That felt out of line. Let's keep it professional." If the pattern persists, document every incident, dates, times, words exchanged. This isn't paranoia, it's preparation. Finally, distance yourself strategically. Limit contact, avoid one-on-one situations, and lean on trusted allies for perspective. Seneca warned, "A sword never kills by itself. It is the hand that wields it." The gradual attack only succeeds if you let it unfold unchecked. In 2025, where workplace banter and online interactions can mask hostility, staying vigilant is key. Reflect on your own life. Has someone's teasing ever felt too pointed? Have you felt crowded or challenged in ways that seemed accidental? Don't ignore the pattern. Keep a journal of uneasy interactions. Small things add up. Address issues early with a calm, "I'm not comfortable with that. Can we clarify?" And build a circle of allies who see your worth clearly. Stoicism teaches that true strength lies in controlling your response, not the world around you. By setting firm boundaries and acting decisively, you stop the gradual attack before it becomes a full-blown assault. The gradual attack is a reminder that danger often builds slowly, testing your resolve. But with awareness and Stoic discipline, you can shut it down. Up next, we'll uncover the long game, where the enemy plays a patient, calculated waiting. Game, striking only when your guard is down. Some enemies strike in the heat of the moment, their anger loud and their intentions clear. But the most dangerous ones? They don't rush, they don't lash out. They play the long game, weaving themselves into your life with the patience of a master strategist, waiting for the perfect moment to unravel everything you've built. These are the enemies who smile at your successes, listen to your dreams, and nod along as you share your fears, all while collecting every detail like pieces on a chessboard. They don't act on impulse. They plan, they study, they wait, sometimes for years, until you're at your most vulnerable. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're exposing this chilling tactic, blending the timeless wisdom of Stoicism with practical tools to help you spot the long game before it's too late. In a world where trust can be a double-edged sword, this is about staying sharp, protecting your peace, and thriving in 2025's complex landscape with unshakable clarity. Let's step into the life of Emma, a marketing manager in New York City. Emma was ambitious, driven, and always careful about who she let into her inner circle. When she met David at a networking event, he seemed like the perfect mentor, experienced, supportive, and genuinely interested in her career. Over coffee meetings and late-night emails, David became a trusted confidant. He asked about her long-term goals, her dream of launching her own agency, her plans to relocate to a quieter suburb, even her concerns about managing stress. Emma felt seen, valued, and empowered. Years passed, and David remained a constant presence, always offering advice, always there to listen. But then, things shifted. A major client Emma had been courting for her side hustle suddenly backed out, citing concerns about her reliability, concerns traced back to a private conversation she'd only shared with David. Her dream home in the suburbs fell through when a neighbor, somehow tipped off about her financial plans, spread doubts about her stability. By the time Emma connected the dots, David had already secured a promotion she'd been eyeing, using her own strategies against her. David wasn't a mentor, he was a player in the long game, building trust over years to strike when Emma was poised for her biggest leap. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The long game is the ultimate test of this truth, because the patient enemy hides their true thoughts behind a mask of loyalty. They don't need to rush. They have time on their side. They ask about your 5-year plan, not to support you, but to know when you'll be stretched thin. They inquire about your next vacation, not out of curiosity, but to pinpoint when you'll be distracted. In 2025, with our lives laid bare on platforms like X, LinkedIn, or even fitness apps tracking our daily routines, the long game is easier than ever to play. A single post about your new job or a casual mention of a big project can give a patient enemy the map they need to plot their move. The scariest part, they often seem like your biggest cheerleader, celebrating your wins while quietly cataloging your weaknesses. By the time they strike, sabotaging a deal, spreading a rumor, or stepping into your spotlight, the damage is done, and you're left wondering how you missed it. So, how do you shield yourself from an enemy who plays the long game? Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our awareness, our boundaries, our inner strength. First, be mindful of oversharing. Epictetus warned, "The more you reveal of yourself, the more you give others the power to use it against you." In practice, this means guarding your plans like a vault. If someone asks about your next career move or personal goals, keep it vague. "I'm exploring a few ideas. How about you?" This isn't about distrusting everyone. It's about discerning who deserves your openness. Second, trust patterns over promises. A true ally proves their loyalty through consistent actions over time, not grand gestures or flattery. Watch for red flags. Someone who's overly curious about your future plans, who seems to linger on your vulnerabilities, or whose support feels performative. Third, anchor yourself in self-reliance. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Build a life where your worth isn't tied to others' approval, but to your own integrity and purpose. In 2025, this might mean auditing your digital footprint, limiting what you share on X about your next big move, or being cautious about who knows your schedule. Keep a mental or written log of who has access to your plans, and if someone's interest feels too intense, pull back. Reflect on your own world for a moment. Is there someone who knows too much about your future, your job aspirations, your financial goals, your personal struggles? Do their questions feel less like curiosity and more like reconnaissance? The long game thrives on your openness, but you can shut it down with Stoic discipline. Start by setting clear boundaries. Share only what's necessary, and only with those who've earned your trust over time. If you sense someone's playing a longer game, don't confront them rashly. Observe, document, and distance yourself strategically. And above all, live with such clarity and purpose that no one's schemes can dim your light. The long game is a test of patience, but with awareness and resolve, you'll always be one step ahead. The long game shows us that the most dangerous enemies don't always strike, they wait. But with Stoic wisdom, you can see them coming. Let's wrap up with how to apply these lessons to your life and stay in control, no matter who's watching. We've walked through a gauntlet of hidden threats: the silent observer, the quiet betrayal, the mask of friendship, the gradual attack, and the long game. Each one teaches us a truth about the world. Not every smile is genuine. Not every ally is true, and not every threat announces itself. But here's the deeper truth, rooted in Stoic wisdom. You are not powerless. The philosopher Epictetus said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." You can't control others' intentions, but you can control your awareness, your actions, your inner strength. In 2025, when our lives are more exposed than ever through social media, workplace chatter, or even the apps tracking our morning runs, these threats are real, but so is your ability to rise above them. Start by sharpening your intuition. Pay attention to who knows too much, who pushes too far, who waits too patiently. Protect your inner world by sharing selectively, setting boundaries firmly, and living with such integrity that no rumor or scheme can shake you. Build a circle of true allies, people who see your worth and stand by you through actions, not just words. And above all, anchor yourself in Stoic clarity. Your peace, your power, your purpose are yours to defend. Here's how to bring this into your life today. Take 10 minutes this week to reflect. Who in your world feels off, even slightly? Jot down their actions, their words, any patterns that raise a flag. Don't judge yourself for noticing. Just observe. Then audit your own exposure. Check your X posts, your LinkedIn updates, even your casual conversations. Where are you giving away too much? Tighten those leaks. If someone's behavior crosses a line, address it calmly but directly. I'm not okay with that. Let's keep things respectful. These small steps aren't about paranoia, they're about empowerment. In a world that's always watching, living with Stoic awareness is your greatest weapon. You don't need to fear the shadows when you carry your own light. This is what ZENLIGHT 8 is all about, equipping you with the wisdom to navigate life's challenges with clarity and strength. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button to let us know it resonated. Subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly dives into Stoicism, self-improvement, and real-world strategies to thrive. And in the comments, share your thoughts. Have you ever spotted one of these hidden threats in your life? Type, "I see clearly," if these signs hit home. Or tell us your story. We read every comment and love hearing how you're applying these lessons. For more ways to stay sharp and protect your peace, check out the video on your screen now. It'll show you how to spot covert manipulators who hide behind charm. Stay aware, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next video on ZENLIGHT 8.